If you are concerned about your mother, your sister, your daughter, there are those whom are standing as candidates, and if they are elected, they have views which really and very boldly claim, for example, they would like to ban the hijab. There are those candidates who have the view that they would like to ban the halal slaughter. There are many candidates, they are standing there and they would like to ban the building of the masajid. There are those who would like to even ban, and even there are those who make these type of comments previously, like Islam is the problem. So when you think about it and understand that by you going out to vote and hoping to make a change, listen to what Najmuddin Arbakan, he is mentioned, rahimahullah, Muslims who don't care about politics get ruled by politicians who don't care about Islam. Think about this very powerful statement. And he was a Turkish leader, but he made this powerful statement that Muslims who don't care about politics get ruled by politicians who don't care about Islam. So you may indeed make a dua, Allahumma la tusallit alayna bidhunubina man la yakhafuka wa la yarhamuna, making the dua and praying that, oh Allah, do not put in place above ourselves a ruler or somebody that will not even be concerned and worried about your, he would not have fear of you and doesn't have mercy upon us. We are making a dua because if a prime minister is going to be elected, and his election will depend on the number of the candidates that are in his party. If there is a majority of candidates in one party, then that will be the result. So tomorrow you're going to see a result. So as much as we are making our ibadah, as much as even, the weather condition, and somebody understands that he has so many members in his family, and he wants to make a difference, and his intention is to benefit the wider community, he has to look at the interest of the community, of the people, of the nation, because he is a citizen. And hence, we are reminding you that you really need to think very carefully, because yes, there are those who have the view that why should we go out and vote? What difference is it going to make? You see, it is as long as you have that intention that do not belittle any action, your intention is to make a difference, because there are many of those candidates who have a very good track record. They will not have every view that represents the Islamic viewpoint. You are not voting for a Sharia. You are trying to minimize the harm. When you look at the Muslim and the league table of the party commitments to men's manifesto pledges, there are issues concerning racial and religious equality. There are issues, the definition of Islamophobia, acceptance of the all parliamentary, the APPG definition of Islamophobia, reviewing the religious hatred on legislation. This is a very important, pledge to consider. How many of these parties have committed to it? Youth and education, media and broadcasting, criminal justice, security and terror, counter-terror, the legislations. How many have committed to the independent review of counter-terror legislation since 2000? How many have committed to the review of for example, the prevent strategy, political engagement, minority rights? So it is important that when any person is going out to vote, then he should indeed have that intention that he wants to make a difference, because you are going to listen to many of this. وَلَتَسْمَعُنَّ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ, for many of the people who have been given a book, and from the polytheists and the mushrikeen, وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا أَذًى كَثِيرًا. So when you are listening to all of this, and you can make a difference, yes, you're going to, when you say, وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا, if you have sabr and you have patience and you endure and you have taqwa, so the believer that is making that firm resolve, he cannot compromise with his deen, but he wants to protect his religion, he wants to protect his identity, he wants to continue living his life, because he knows it is not when Allah and His Messenger have decreed and declared a matter, then he doesn't have a choice. So our indeed constitution is to hold on to the Kitabullah and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and by living as minority, by living in a place where we want to secure our rights to continue practicing our deen, our religion, our Islam, which means a submitting to a complete way of life. How can we protect it? If we sit on the side and we just, like spectators, and we're expecting, we will challenge the new government or challenge those who are elected. But then you had now the opportunity that before even a candidate gets elected who is like an Islamophobe, and he is not concerned about the Muslim interest, for example, and the wider community, even the NHS and the education and many issues. Even when we speak about the education, how many of those MPs, for example, represent your views when you are concerned about your child's education? Islam has made it very clear about the sanctity of marriage. Here we have the concern and worry as Muslims, the legislation that was introduced to the same-sex marriage. Where was it introduced? It all happens there. So as much as our imams and the khutbah and those that will be delivering the sermons and speaking about the importance of preserving our deen, the importance of not deviating, and we are praying and making dua that Allah Ta'ala keep us on the straight path. As much as we continue giving our talks, our seminars, our conferences, as much as we would like to safeguard and protect our children, as much as the parents know their responsibility and duty, as Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. O you who believe, save yourselves and your families from the fire of hell. Is it not that we have a greater responsibility, that we have to rise up to the challenge and use that which is in our, as we said, right to make a difference? So if it means by you voting and you are able to maybe deselect or swing a vote or swing, that is make a change to elect a candidate who is going to be, we say, less harmful, or who you are trying to prevent a greater harm, then this is what we are encouraging you to do. So tonight, there's only a few hours remaining. You have to make that decision. You have to go out tonight. Don't wait for another opportunity. This is a very unique opportunity. How many of us, how many times have we encouraged people, even when it comes to Masjid al-Aqsa, when we say visit this place, visit this land, visit this, how many of us have concern about that place where Masjid al-Aqsa is, in Jerusalem, in Palestine? Yes, indeed, just like how we know the Ummah and what has caused the decline of the Ummah, and look at our past history and legacy, and there was a time when it was in its zenith of glory. There was a time, إِنَّا كُنَّا قَوْمًا أَذِلَّا إِذَا ابْتَغَيْنَا الْعِزَّةَ بِغَيْرِ مَا أَعَزَّنَا اللَّهُ أَذَلَّنَا اللَّهُ. The condition, and we have now, if it's we are weakened, and we have there is this decline and there is this degeneration. If you look at what are the causes, and look at before Islam and see how conditions change, and that is exactly what we are facing in our time. There are those, they would like to appease, they would like to please, they will compromise with the deen, they will trample upon the values, Islamic values, they will compromise with so many matters with the deen, when already we know that, look at the condition before Islam. We were a disgraceful, humiliated people. But Allah gave us a izzah with Islam. When we look for a izzah and honor in any other way, أَذَلَّنَا Allah, Allah will humiliate us. Allah will disgrace us. This is the statement of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. The challenge that we are facing, that yes, we may be so large in number, and because there is no unity in the way we try to, even in our activism, even when it participating in the political process, you will find that there are Muslims who are even divided in the way they go out even to vote. So one is saying, yes, okay, we've moved past that stage. We know that voting has its importance. We know we are not voting and not endorsing the views of the candidate. There may be a candidate who supports, for example, same-sex marriage, or he supports this curriculum in the schools, SRE, or sex and relationship education. And there are Muslim MPs even who have been voting for and yes, indeed supporting for the SRE to be, which has already been legislated in the House of Commons, Muslim MPs. And now you are in a state where baffled. You are now, like we say, gobsmacked that how is it that here we are speaking about how do we safeguard and protect our deen, how do we protect our rights, how do we know that the parents, they are the primary carers of their children. And here we have campaigned so much in the past, elections have happened so many times, Muslims are being elected, the number of Muslims and MPs are increasing, but when they enter and become members of the parliament, when it comes to laws which are introduced, even if it means going against their own deen and they compromise with the deen and the religion, and that is the state of the ummah today. And hence, what do we do? So we have found that there are many MPs who are not even Muslim, and they are representing many of the views that the ummah should have. And that is the reason why we do not look at a person whether he is a Muslim or a non-Muslim. This is an issue. Yes, it is so challenging, because once you are campaigning and once you are encouraging a people to vote, we indeed make it very clear that Almighty Allah Ta'ala, He knows our intentions. So it is the condition of the heart which Allah Ta'ala knows. When we say do not belittle any good action, then yes, indeed, if it is your intention to try to eradicate a harm or a munkar or some harm that may come upon the community or the Muslim, and for example, if there in your constituent there are two candidates, one is very racist and is an Islamophobe, and the other candidate, he is not a Muslim, but he at least understands the Muslim and he knows the many issues that the Muslim is concerned about, and he is willing to engage, and he is a better candidate. So by you abstaining, then what may happen? Your abstaining could be the contribution of somebody to be elected, and then you will have greater challenges. So we will go for a short break now, and after the break, we will continue discussing about the elections 2019 until after the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.